Good morning and welcome to the Crawford County Commissioners Work Session for February 7th. We'll start with the District Attorney.
Morning, everybody.
Morning,
Morning, Paula.
I'm requesting ratification of the payment to the Pennsylvania District Attorneys Association for our yearly membership cost in the amount of $4,946.86. This is a budgeted item. Thank you.
Any questions for Paula?
Nope.
Just want to let you know, Paula, we have our continued support if you need anything else from us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coroner. Morning, sir.
Morning, Eric.
The coroner's office is requesting approved payment of a budgeted annual association fee per invoice of $645 to the Pennsylvania Coroners Association.
Any questions for Eric?
You liking it so far?
Am I liking it so far?
The association part? He hasn't been there.
The
Probably.
association part? No, there's more disassociation, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
My only question, if I could ask, beyond that, is the policy for purchasing versus invoice payment. The policy is somewhat clear and somewhat provides some double speak as far as what is purchased under request and what is purchased based on invoice that has been approved by the prior budget. It'd be the second page of that policy, per total amount of invoice, which I do have here from the State Coroners Association, $1,000 or less, one signature, department head approval only if budgeted. For approved budgeted items, department head approval only after ensuring that the department budget has not or will not be exceeded. And our budgeted item is $705. I'm submitting a request for payment of $645, which leaves a balance of $60 in that account. So I was looking for more clarification as to the policy going forward, as I'm very familiar with policies and procedures and writing of such, and even reading comprehension when it comes to this. So.
You could review the policy. I think the same policies for every other elected official.
It
falls in
is,
there,
and
so.
I know we spoke about this. There's a two-piece to that policy. So not only, the first thing you need to look at is a per-item piece. So every department has an approval up to $200 per item. In this instance, the per item is $645, which is above your limit, or a department head's limit. So from there, you move to the next level, which would be a per-item cost of up to $500 that the CFO could approve. This is again above that $500 limit that the CFO can approve. So then it must go to the commissioners because the per item is over $500 per item, regardless of the total invoice amount.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing you need to look at is per item. Then you look at the total invoice.
Understood.
Thank you. Adult probation?
Morning.
Morning.
Trevor.
Morning.
Here to ratify approval to pay the invoice in the amount of $14,820 for our annual fees for our AP management system license. That is our main computer system we use for probation. That's for our mobile licenses, collection reminders, tech support, text reminders, data service, and this is a budget line item. Any
Okay.
questions on that? All right. And then request to pay the invoice to the city of Meadville for $2,000 for the use of John Holt pistol range. This is a budgeted line item as well.
Okay. Any questions for Trevor?
No.
Thank you, Trevor.
All right, thank you.
IT. Hi, Tim.
This is a budgeted item, but the numbers have changed.
Right.
We had a disagreement on how much we should pay for this Unitrends cost, but we worked it out. The request is now to purchase a 46-month contract for Unitrends backup systems for $145,545.93, with $7,903.73 due in 2024, and then the rest of the money
Subsequent years.
subsequently each year. So it is under our budget because I budgeted $8,058 for all of the departments to pay. So,
Okay.
and we're actually getting a newer appliance. It's a version 10 appliance instead of
The 9.
so.
And you had a chance to sit in on it, so you're good?
We did have a conversation station, we are good now. The first subsequent quote they came back with was
A little rough.
silly.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we asked them to please go back and read.
You're comfortable? You're
I'm
comfortable?
with
Yeah.
what
Okay.
it is, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you both for your work.
Public safety? Morning, Greg.
Morning, sirs.
Need to ratify the travel authorization for myself to attend crisis intervention training in Texas. Estimated amount of $3,735.78.
And that's all from that program, right? All from coming from CIT. Nothing.
Yeah, that's human services. I'm not sure why.
So
they
that's
got put on
correct,
my-
right? Everything's
my
coming
thing,
from.
but,
Okay.
yeah, nevertheless.
Okay.
I'm going to Texas.
Crisis
Yes.
grant. Okay.
We paid McCutcheon last time, but we need to approve and update a contract with them to provide hazardous materials response for the county.
Okay.
We need to pay our annual renewal for the Genesis mass notification at $4,749.50. That's a budgeted expense.
Okay.
We also need to renew our surveillance software license at a cost of $1,085 to Mobilecom. It's also budgeted. We're going to ask to ratify the payment of $513 to APCO for Paul Aiken to take a communications training officer class.
Okay.
And also the payment of $1,965 to Priority Dispatch for online QA certification courses for Kelsey Durove. Approve the payment of $4,500 to MCM for continued work on the hazard mitigation plan, which again will be reimbursed.
Okay.
And lastly, approve the payment of $17,656.20 to Erie County for our portion of the EMS plan administrator's wages from '23.
Any questions for Greg?
Nope.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Greg.
Correctional facility.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Warden.
Morning.
All right, this morning I'd like to get ratified a payment of $2,000 to Meadville City Police Department for the John Holt Pistol Range for annual weapons qualifications. This is a budgeted item.
Okay.
I'm looking for approval of payment for $3,340 Canadota Security for purchase and installment of 2 replacement access cameras. This is not a budgeted item.
You got other prices, right? But they were.
I put out for 2 more quotes and never received anything back from anybody.
Can you make sure that that documentation's with that for us, just so we
Yeah,
have it? Okay.
sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Approve the payment of $2380 to Canadota Security. This is in addition to the $16,000 that was approved for the server upgrade. We ran into some issues with the licensing. That's the whole reason for the $2,000 more.
Okay.
Ratified a payment for $1,560 Central Square for data extraction. This is required so we can go to the new JMS systems, Justice Data Solutions.
Okay.
And also ratify the payment of $917 for purchase of the big book, the record of prisoners' dockets.
Any questions for Jack?
No.
Thank you,
Sir,
Jack.
Thank you.
The courts.
Good morning.
Morning, Heidi.
We're
Hi,
seeking
Heidi.
approval this morning for payments of $3,652 and $3,169.60 to the Crawford County Bar Association for court attorney, Pennsylvania and County Bar Association fees.
Any
It's a
questions for
budget
Heidi?
item.
Thank you. Heidi.
Thank you.
very much. Veteran Services.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, Tony.
Hey,
Morning,
Tony.
Tony.
I am again seeking request approval for the purchase of 840 flags to be placed on veteran graves in the amount of $13,622.40. It is budgeted.
And you mentioned this yesterday to me, but its per flag price has been different. When you first started, it was about 60 cents. And
It
now
was
we're up to
61 the first year I was here.
Yeah.
This year it's actually 86 cents.
86 cents. Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions for Tony?
No.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Have a good morning.
Sussman?
Good morning.
Morning,
Hi,
Joe.
Joe.
So I come to you this morning with an unusual, I have an unbudgeted item, which is unusual for me. The printer that we had in the administrative suite, after 12 years, decided to die and could not be repaired by Hagen's, who we have the maintenance agreement with, because apparently this printer is no longer sold or serviced in the United States of America. So and talking to Stephanie there, again, like the previous conversations, a little bit above what she can do there. So I come to you asking for that.
Okay.
And then it's that time of year again, appreciate the staff was able to get the roll closed before the beginning of February, before the beginning of February, which is always good. And so I ask that you ratify and adopt the 2024 assessment and per capita rolls at your earliest convenience.
Any questions for Joe?
Give it to you on Valentine's Day, it looks
Well,
like.
that's cool.
Thank you, Joe.
That'd be nice.
Planning? Morning, Sam.
Good morning, Sam.
So planning would like to request approval to pay the below invoices for reimbursement in the amount of $2,208 to R.E. Johnson. These are training wages through the Construction Workforce Industry Program. You can see the students listed below that make up that total.
Okay.
It's a non-budgeted item. It's paid for out of the whole home repair program. We request approval to pay invoice number 4 for reimbursement in the amount of $640 to Ferguson Construction for training wages through the Construction Workforce Industry Program, also non-budgeted. This item is paid for out of whole home.
Okay.
Approval to pay invoice number 178311 for HRG Engineering in the amount of $16,000 for engineering services for the East Branch and Knox and Cane Trails. It's a non-budgeted item. It's paid for out of the ARC Power Grant.
Okay.
Approval to pay invoice 122327 from Dyson Helmy Engineering in the amount of $8,014 for services, engineering services at Carl Gurdon Park in Venango Borough, non-budgeted.
Is there some movement on that? Is there?
Yes.
Okay.
It's paid for out, let me finish and
Okay,
then
go
I'll
ahead.
answer your question. It's paid for
Thank you.
out of the fiscal year 21
Thank you.
CDBG. The movement on that, the engineering is practically completed.
Okay.
They had to get approvals from DCNR before they could move forward. I believe we'll go out to bid for that very soon, in the next 2 months probably.
Oh, good. Oh, exciting for Vinny.
It's very close, yes. Approval to pay invoice 202400719 from LSSE in the amount of $3,800, engineering services for Conneautville Stormwater Management Project. This is a non-budgeted item. It's paid for out of the county fiscal year 2020 CDBG.
Okay.
Approval to pay invoice 9131 from Sample News Group in the amount of $1,267.35 for notices published in Quarry Journal for Titusville projects. It's a non-budgeted item paid for out of the Titusville fiscal year 2020 CDBG.
Okay.
Approval to pay account service order and statement of work from Starlink in the amount of $43,808. This is for 32 Starlink consumer kits, shipping and handling for kits, and 6 months service fee. It's a non-budgeted item. It's paid for out of ARPA funding.
Okay.
Request approval of award and contract of a fiscal year 23 County Act 13 Environmental Initiative Fund grant to the city of Titusville for renovating and rehabilitating various aspects of Ed Meyer Complex. This award amount is $45,345.02. Ratify approval of purchase of Meeting Owl 3 from Owl Labs in the amount of $1,049. This item is to be used in various conference, video calls, office meetings, and planning commission meetings to increase communication abilities. It's a non-budgeted item. This item is paid for out of state facilities closure transition.
I only make that look because if you've been in an
Program
OWL
grant.
meeting, it's really annoying. I mean, the thing.
Have you been in one?
Oh,
I
many.
haven't seen them.
Drug and alcohol. I think, Sue, do you have one, don't you? No? It just turns and stares at you. It's just a weird.
Oh, it's creepy.
It is. It does. The whole owl just moves. I mean, if you ever get a chance to get out of those meetings, it's weird. Only when you speak or move. So
We'll
if you
invite
stay,
you to our
stay
first
really
meeting.
still and don't say anything, the owl will not focus on you. But go ahead.
Interesting. Maybe
It's
that
diff-
incentivizes.
It is weird. It's different.
Not talking.
Yes.
Right? I don't know.
Might be a good
Anyway.
idea.
Okay, ratify approval of purchase of 2 Dell monitors and an Optiplex computer from Dell Technologies in the amount of $1,086.88 to replace the planning office's front counter public computer.
Okay.
It's a non-budgeted item. It's paid for out of general fund. Finally, ratify approval of purchase of 1 monitor mount with arm and 1 single monitor arm from Amazon in the amount of $50.98 for the replacement of the front counter public computer. It's a non-budgeted item paid for out of general fund.
And just for information, the other computer went down the hallway, so there's an
Yes, it
additional.
went with GIS.
Yeah, so
As we divided our offices.
so we have it
that
additional
created a
access for
deficit.
both offices, so it's theirs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Sam?
Thank you very much. Wasn't it originally 33 Starlings? Wasn't that the original ask?
I do not know. I think it's always been 32.
Okay.
But
You're
Deb
more
would be
likely
better
to be
answer
right
it
than I
that
am.
than I,
so-
but I'm
okay.
pretty sure I've heard the number 32
Okay.
over and over and over. So
You bet.
But
All right.
we
Thanks.
can find out. If we
It's
need
not
to.
worth the time. No,
Okay.
you're fine.
Thank you. County maintenance. Morning.
Hi, Mark. Asking to ratify approval of invoices for the new finance office on the second floor. Ace Contractor for $368.82. Alloy Group for $3,980. Home Depot for $236.75. And RW Construction for $850.
Okay.
Okay. Asking to ratify approval of invoices for the new GIS office. Bulldog Lock and Safe for $11.50. RW Construction for $4,260.
Okay.
Approval to pay Stantec Consulting Services for professional services to renew the NPDES permit for the parking lot project behind the courthouse for $1,350.
Okay.
Asking approval to pay the Eads Group, this is for engineering services for the parking deck rehab for $609.70.
Okay.
Approval to pay Stantec Architecture for professional services to complete an electrical study for the installation of a new backup generator at the courthouse for $5,000.
Okay.
Asking approval to pay Brian Noah, project manager, for professional services from January 1st of '24 to January 31st of '24 for $1,773. Asking approval of a proposal for construction admin services for the courthouse brick wall project and new show arena project at the fairgrounds for $7,500.
Okay.
Asking approval to issue a time extension to Eads Group. This is for the preliminary engineering agreement on the rehab of Bridge 14, Whiteman Road Bridge. The time extension is until December 31st, 2024, and it's been approved by PennDOT. Asking approval to pay Ascendance Truck Centers. This was to diagnose and repair the 2006 International truck for $1,475.62. This will be paid for with liquid fuels money.
Okay.
The next one, I'll explain a little bit. Every year we get allocations for liquid fuels. It's always unknown. This year it was $214,000. We can only use 10% for admin, and we can only use 21,408, and we used 23,007. So we have to pay that money back, $1,598.93. That's generally what it is. Sometimes we're a little bit under, sometimes we're a little bit over.
Okay.
It's better to be a little bit over like we are, to make sure Liquid Fuels is paying their share. Asking approval to award a roof replacement for the Crawford County Correctional Facility to Strongland Roofing for $1,348,050. This project was solicited through CoStar's pricing.
And those that don't know, that is an original roof with a moderate minor repair early on, right through the process of that building, and
Yeah.
and we've had leaks inside the actual facility, so we
Yeah.
not much
From
choice in the matter.
1994.
Yeah,
I think it was built in 94,
94.
95.
and it's a flat roof, which is
It's
just
a flat roof.
trouble. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Human Services.
Morning.
Morning, Sue.
I'm requesting approval of the facilities agreement with Allegheny College to host the Crisis Intervention Team training from May 13th to May 17th, 2024. Total cost is $500. There's no cost to the county, paid for out of the crisis grant funds. Requesting approval of the AFGAR's upgrade and maintenance agreement between Crawford County Human Services and Avanco International. The term of the agreement runs from January 1st to June 30th, 2024. The cost of the upgrade is shared amongst all 56 CAPS counties using the system and is based on the number of users. The cost of the Crawford County share is $6,689,055. The cost of the county is $900.94. Requesting approval of the MATP final allocation. The initial allocation was $747,111, and the final allocation is $816,577, which is based upon the fiscal year 22-23 final reconciliation report. There is no county match on MATP funding. Requesting approval of the reimbursements to the Social Security Administration for overpayments from October 1st to December 31st, 2023. Requesting approval of the PCCD grant award letter for the Child Advocacy Center. This grant will be used to fund the family advocate position, training and membership fees, and supplies related to the CAC. The grant will cover the period January 1st to December 31st, 2024. We have been awarded $47,000 through this grant. The requested funding amount is fully state funded with no county match. Requesting approval of the purchase requisition to Parkside Psychological Associates for the Crisis Intervention Team training and preparation, which was held October 9th to October 13th, 2023 in Titusville. The total cost was $5,040 with no cost to the county. This was paid for out of the crisis grant funds. Requesting approval of the purchase requisition for 2024 blanket food request purchases for Crawford County Human Services for board meetings, family group decision-making family meetings, and intellectual disabilities annual plan rollover. The total cost of all food requests is not to exceed $3,550. The cost to the county is not to exceed $324.26. Requesting approval of the purchase requisition to Word Systems Incorporated for the maintenance renewal for the Children's Interview Center's iRecord equipment, which is the digital video audio recording system for interviews. If we purchase the 2-year maintenance agreement, we will save $426.57. The cost to the county is $4,265.60. Total cost, is $4,265.68. The cost to the county is $921.26. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 23-24 CYSJP contract with BCL Partners, doing business as Leading Youth for Excellence for shelter care services. We have not contracted with this agency before, but we have a youth who is in the hospital as of the end of January and cannot return to their previous foster care setting. While the provider stated that their daily rate for out-of-county residents with similar needs would be $1,036 per day, they agreed to contract at the state maximum participation rate on their OCYF approved 4E packet of $785.09 as long as we'd secure the bed immediately. Requesting approval of the F1 amendment to the fiscal year 23-24 CYSJP contract with Pathways Adolescent Center for shelter care services. Pathways moved their boys shelter program to a new building, which had a new certificate of compliance number. This amendment is adding that certificate number to the contract. Requesting approval of the C2 amendment to the fiscal year 23-24 MHIDEI contract with Hand in Hand Mental Health Services for Renewed Life Haven. This amendment is increasing the Renewed Life Haven maximum by $1,933.45. When closing out the Renewed Life Haven program, which ended September 3rd, the provider failed to include the cost of an electric bill from the month of August. The cost to the county for the additional $1,933.45 is $103.22. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 23-24 professional contract with Maria Norman for physical therapy evaluation and physical therapy services. It's a new service provider for EI, and the rates are set by the state.
Any questions for Sue? I would just like to say that just because you mentioned Hand in Hand or New Life, thank you for the update last week, and I think it's good, positive news that what we transitioned in to was group homes that are transferring people through levels and getting them to be independent. It seems to be working really well, and Stephanie Ace and Krista Simons both are watching it, so I appreciate it. It's a good report. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. And the only question I have is we tabled the purchase requisition for Center last week. Do we need to?
That's right.
I noticed that wasn't on here. Do I need to put it on
I
here?
am still working on that.
Okay.
There are still open questions that have not been answered.
Okay, so it's
So-
okay that it's not on this one?
Yeah, Eric helped answer some of the questions, but there were some questions that were subsequently just left off for an answer.
Okay.
And so when we have cleared up some of the points, but not all of the points.
Okay, so then you'll let me know when I need to put it back
Yeah.
on? Okay.
I think we're about halfway or 3/4 of the way through some of the questions.
All right, I just don't want it to be overlooked, so just let me know when I need
Oh,
to get it back on.
I am living this nearly every day.
Every day,
of my life.
yeah.
It
I
will not be overlooked.
Thank
So
you.
out of
Thank you,
sight, out
Sue.
of mind. Yeah.
Sheriff Powers?
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Dave.
Let me just give you a little background on this. Typically, at the sheriff's office, when someone retires, if they request we try to let them purchase their firearm. It's something they carry around with them on duty all the time. Their life can depend on it. This time I'm asking, Scott Young recently retired, and to give you some background, Scott Young was a city cop for a couple of decades, and he's been with the sheriff's office for about 28 or 29 years. He was hired by Bob Stevens, and he eventually became chief deputy, and then he retired from the sheriff's office and stayed on as a per diem deputy, which is what we all know him as. So I'm asking that we approve him purchasing his firearm. It's a Glock 22. To replace it's $409. He would pay for the trade-in value of $250, so it would cost the county $159. This is also probably the last time I'll be able to do this for a deputy, because they've changed our firearm. They no longer make the Gen 4 Glock, but Glock runs a special line only for agencies that still carry the Gen 4, so I'm able to do this time. I don't know that I'll be able to do it in the future, because the Gen 5 takes a different holster, so we'd have to change a lot of other stuff. So this would probably be the last time I'll be able to do this.
Okay.
So.
Any questions for Dave?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Finance?
I'm sorry, I'm reading. Sorry about that. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
For your, Andy, for your approval, I have invoices, the following invoices. The first is to the Meadville City Treasurer. It's the stormwater fees in the amount of $5,503.60. The next is to the Port Meadville Airport. It's their 2024 budgeted allocation in the amount of $40,000. The third is to the Crawford County Humane Society. Also the 2024 budgeted allocation in the amount of $5,000. The next one is to the Department of Human Services. It is the quarter ending 9/30/2023 and quarter ending 12/31/2023 nursing facility assessment for the Crawford County Care Center in the amount of $120,498.28. This nearly completes our bed assessment. We only have 1 month left we have to pay, which is October. That's currently being calculated, and I should be bringing it in the near future. The fifth invoice is to Penn State Extension. It's Q1 2024 appropriation in the amount of $72,500. The sixth invoice is invoice number 122023, county match from Crawford County Drug and Alcohol. It's the July 1st through December 31st, 2023 county match in the amount of $9,893.24. And the final invoice for approval is invoice number 171 from Community Health Services. It's the 12 of 2023 trip reimbursements in the amount of $67,628.
Questions for Stephanie?
Well, then I have for
Oh,
ratification.
I'm sorry, one more. I missed it.
That's okay.
I was looking up.
For ratification, I have two invoices.
wanna
The
pay those.
first is invoice number 158410-0 to PA County's Health Insurance. It's our February 2024 premium in the amount of $677,431.54. And the second is, it's multiple invoices that were not presented to us. They belong to the care center. It is for staffing, nursing, temporary nursing, and it was from a company called Medical Solutions. It's the September and October 2023 nursing staffing, and the total of all the invoices is $34,160.22.
And you got them to waive the late fees or?
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Stephanie?
Nope. Thank
All
you.
right, the treasurer?
Good morning.
Morning. Christine?
I'm here to ask for approval to pay the city of Meadville for our third share of the city treasurer's office wages for collection of the county taxes from 7/1/23 to 12/31/23 in the amount of $19,776.88. This is a budgeted item.
Okay.
Asking for approval to pay the city of Meadville for the half share of postage and mailing of the real estate second notices and costs in the amount of $1,047.63, also a budgeted item.
Okay.
Approval to pay the City of Meadville for the half share of postage and mailing of the per capita bills in the amount of $1,997.11. This is a budgeted item. Approval to pay to purchase parts to repair a laptop that was damaged in the moving of the office in the amount of $199.96. This quote was obtained by the IT department, and it is not a budgeted item. Asking for approval to the agreement with RBA Professional Data Systems, Inc. for RBA tax management software. This is for the new current tax year software and for use by the county tax collectors. The term is for the years of 2025 to 2027. The contract has been looked over by the solicitor. And then lastly, I am asking for approval to the agreement with RBA Professional Data Systems, Inc. for RBA e-delinquent management software. This is new for the tax claim receipt and data processing software. The term is for the years of 2025 through 2027, and it has also been looked over by the solicitor.
Okay. Any questions for Christine? Commissioner's office?
Thank you. Okay, the first item is requesting ratification of the agreement with Bull Moose Marketing for marketing, professional, and sponsorship promotion services for the 2024 year for the fair in the amount of $44,600.
That contract, actually, just so you guys know, used to be over $80,000 in the fair, pared it down, so they've done a good job of, cutting it in half, basically, so.
Okay.
Second item is requesting ratification of the service agreement between the Crawford County Fair and Gibson Fireworks for fireworks display at the county fair for 24, 25, and 26 in the amount of $10,000. Next item is ratification with of the contract with Bull Ride Mania for professional show during the 2024 county fair in the amount of $13,750. Next item is ratification of the purchase of a Dell Latitude computer for the Commissioner's Office for procurement for Monica to update to Windows 11, paid from CapEx in the amount of $1,446.59. Next item is ratification of the annual MSA payment to Dominion Voting Systems in the amount of $221,932.50. And I believe there are only 2 years left on that contract. That could be looked at again at that time. Next item is approval of the reappointment for Heather Frazier to the Workforce Development Board. And the next item is approval of the contract renewal with Lindsay for access control for 2024. This includes the courthouse, public safety, building and grounds, and human services. The total amount is $3,446, and the breakdown is there listed on the agenda. And I have some notifications. And the first one is an Act 14 notification from Dyson Helmy for Titusville Dairy Products, application for renewal of an NPDES permit to allow discharge to Oil Creek in the city of Titusville. Next one is an Act 14 notification for NPDES permit for small flow facility treatment in Hayfield Township. An Act 14 notification from Moody and Associates for NPDES permit for discharge of industrial stormwater in Summit Township. Notification to apply for a PADEP permit for PennDOT Rest Stop Site number 19, northbound I-79, for a new building to house an upgraded water treatment system, and this is in Cusawago Township. Notification from Porter Consulting for general permit number 11 for road culvert replacement. It's on unnamed tributary to Conneaut Creek, and this is in Summit Township. And a notification from Moody and Associates for permits for discharge of stormwater associated with construction in, I guess I don't have what.
That'd be Greenwood Township.
Municipality, Greenwood? Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Gina?
Nope.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Upcoming events, February 14th will be a full session. Will be closed on President's Day, February 19th. The next work session will be February 21st. Any public comment? Commissioner comments? Commissioner Sherrill?
Nothing at this time. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Steely?
Nope, we've talked long enough.
We'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.